LAPD responds.
Let's be careful out there.
Working as a team to protect and to serve.
Whoever's got a gun, leave us alone! Why don't you just let her go? We have a critical missing.
I lost my puppy.
To fight crime and to keep our streets safe.
Call from the Amber Alert.
Hello, welcome to Inside the LAPD. I'm Mary Grady, Public Information Director for the Los Angeles Police Department. If you were to ask somebody, why did you become a police officer? Most of them would say, because they wanted to serve. They wanted to be there and offer help when help was needed. Or you might find someone who says, hey, I grew up on Dragnet and 1 Adam 12, and police work looked exciting and rewarding. When it comes to veterans, the question should be, what keeps you coming back for more? Today we're going to introduce you to some people, both sworn and civilian, who each have more than 40 years on the job.
I'm the commanding officer of Incident Management and Training Bureau.
You guys are still moving, right, in the middle? While they're doing that, you guys are on the move still, all right? Okay, code 4. Any questions there?
So we're dealing with about 200 officers here today, not including Metropolitan Division officers or the officers that are providing the training, but Dr. Pinnell, who represents our police training section, and Captain Contro, who represents our training division. All this is a compilation of effort that's been put forth by all of these folks for the service delivered. We've got about 6,000 police officers that we've got to train here all the way up through March.
Please leave the area. Get back. Get back. Get back. Sir, please leave your sir.
I've been here now for nearly 42 years, and I don't know where the time has gone. I started just after I got out of the United States Army, and in 1966 when I came on the department. I came on during the Vietnam time frame. Of course, everybody in my academy class were all military, and it was kind of interesting to stand there and have an old timer from LAPD that had probably 5-6 years on the department at that time, a sergeant that was standing there yelling at us, and I looked around and I saw most of the people that were standing there were all former military, so I mean it wasn't really something that we weren't used to, and I figured that you know, they've only got us for 8 hours a day, and we'll just kind of see where this goes. I'm a local boy, and I grew up off of Figueroa Terrace, which overlooks Dodger Stadium, and both my brother and I, were separated by 9 years, my brother's on the department as well, and as a young man, I remember that my brother had literally wandered off our property, and a motor officer that happened to be going by found this, you know, about 4-year-old walking down the street and put him on his motorcycle and brought him home. When the motor officer rode up, I always thought to myself that was something that I wanted to do. I've spent most of my life being a Los Angeles police officer. I was assigned to the station where I grew up. Shortly after Rampart, I decided I wanted to be a motor officer, and because that was something that was in my background. And so I rode motors. I was selected for motors. I rode freeways. After I worked motors, then I went to Metro. I wanted to go to Metro right away because that's where SWAT was, and was a squad leader and team leader, both within SWAT as a police officer to sergeant. And I was kind of always a bridesmaid, and you know, I had the first love for SWAT, but I also wanted to fly. So I kind of achieved what I really wanted to do, and so I got promoted and went out to Air Support Division, and great command, great people, and was just having a ball. And of course, a new guy from the East Coast by the name of William Bratton came into town, and you know, there was a big concern about what the issues were and what he was going to do, and I was trying to make air support the best they could be, and I didn't want to tell too many people, but I was having an awful lot of fun, and I was trying to master that machine that they call the helicopter. And one day I was practicing emergency procedures with my flight instructor, Bob Percy, and it was hot, it was wringing wet, and I was trying to keep us both alive because he was putting me through some paces, and pager kept going off, and Finally, I told my instructor pilot, I said, I got to sit it down for a minute. So I did, and picked up the phone, and they said, come on back to air support. The chief of police wants to talk to you, and Chief McDonald. And so I ended up coming back into the heliport, and like I say, I'm wringing wet, and had plenty of my dose of trying to keep us both alive for the day. And so I picked up the phone and talked to Jim McDonald. He says, hey, we're going to make you deputy chief, and the chief of police has essentially appointed you as the new deputy chief. We're going to put you in charge of gangs and whatever else you come up with in terms of special operations. And I said, just exactly what do you want? And he says, well, I want you to put together the overall retooling of the Los Angeles Police Department following crash, and put together really a structure in dealing with gangs, which we developed the Gang Impact Team concept. And I stood up what we call Special Operations Bureau, which was essentially the unusual occurrence response force for the department that had all the Metropolitan Division, all of aviation assets, and we started a pretty robust maritime capability to be able to deal with the ports, and the Gang Impact Team kind of took off on its own and had all of the other nuances that fell within the consent decree, and it's been just pretty much fascinating. And at that particular point, I had a chance to work there for a while, and then went over and took over an operational bureau, and then the chief says, just in the last few months, he says, we're going to put you in charge of what now is Incident Management and Training Bureau. So here we are today. Every day is a good day. You know, I mean, I get a chance to work with the best people on the face of this planet.
If you get caught with an illegal gun in LA, now you can be sent to federal prison, far away from your friends and family. So, if you think it's cool to carry an illegal gun or commit a crime with one, you've been watching too much TV.
Another of our veterans inside the LAPD works here in West Los Angeles. When he started with the department, William H. Parker was chief of police. Let's meet him. Hi, you must be Sergeant Harris.
I am. I'm Sergeant Don Harris, West Traffic Division.
Mary Grady, your public information director.
How are you? It's good to meet you.
Nice to meet a veteran inside the LAPD.
Well, thank you. Thank you. It's good to be here. This is our West Traffic desk, and mind if I show you around a bit?
Love to see it. So you usually have a couple people working the desk here?
Yes, we do. We have, normally we'll have 2 officers working here, and they take the walk-in traffic reports primarily, although they are to take any sort of reports that come in so that we don't be sending people all over the place to get a report made. But normally they'll be taking the walk-in traffic reports. A lot of hit-and-run reports, unfortunately.
Ah,
Yes.
so it's pretty busy?
Yes, very busy. Very busy indeed.
You got a lot of traffic in West
Yeah,
Los Angeles.
very much so, very much so.
So where are you working these days?
Well, I'm one of the assistant watch commanders here, and myself and another sergeant, we are sort of sharing the duties because our lieutenant is right now IOD,
Okay.
which is, he's off with an injury. But we're sharing the duties, and let me show you around to what we do.
Love to see it.
Okay, thank you.
So we get
After
right
you,
behind the desk.
after you. Turn left right here.
This is it.
Yes.
This is the brain.
All right.
Media relations.
Yeah.
Yes, Mary Grady. Nice to meet you. Yes.
This is the watch commander's office. Sergeant Buscarino is the other sergeant that I mentioned. We're sharing duties here as the watch commander, and he's the on-duty watch commander today. And our desk officer just walked out. This is PSR Linda Cryer. She
Hi,
runs.
Linda.
I've been with the Los Angeles Police Department for 44 years, almost 44 years. Coming up this August 5th will be 44 years. Sometimes it feels like a really long time, and other times it does not. Sometimes it feels like it was only yesterday. I decided to join the police department. I was just getting out of the military, and I had a very good friend who was a relative, a cousin, and she was working for the police department, and she suggested that I should entertain the thought of joining the LAPD. So I did entertain that thought. I did go through the testing process, and here almost 44 years later, it sounded like a good piece of advice that she gave me. I think when I showed up on the first day, I started to wonder a bit as to what did I get myself into, because I saw that there was going to be a lot of military discipline and so forth, and I didn't mind that one bit. But I thought, what actually is this going to entail? And I didn't have any relatives in law enforcement, so I figured I don't have a clue as to what to expect or what to anticipate. So from that regard, I kind of wondered, what have I gotten myself into? After I graduated, I worked undercover for a bit in the narcotics program. I worked a bit of undercover vice and various assignments as I was younger with the department. And the more I worked these different assignments, the more I began to settle down, and the more I liked it, and the more I enjoyed it. I like helping people, and that's true with me. I like, in my case, I like providing a service that I believe is quite beneficial, and I think it is helpful to the community. I like what it provides for me as well. It's provided a lot of enriching experiences and enriching memories, and also it's provided for myself, and I've raised a family based upon what I've done here with the Los Angeles Police Department. So it's been good in that respect. Well, I became interested in traffic early on. Actually, I think about the same time that I joined the department. I figured I had an interest in traffic, and more specifically, I had an interest in motors. And most of my experiences and most of my applications were sort of geared towards eventually joining motors. And I put a lot of my effort into trying to achieve that, which I did eventually achieve in the late 60s. I became a motorcycle officer in the late 60s. I would say that the traffic today is a lot more congested. There are a lot more cars, there are a lot more people, so the pedestrian traffic has increased tremendously, so has the vehicular traffic, and the traffic violations in those same terms have increased. The technology in terms of the motorcycles, I would say that it has improved, but in some ways, some of the things that we're using right now are not a lot different than what we had when I first started riding motors. But if I had to say, have they improved? Yes, you bet they have. But do we still need more improvements? I'd say yes. I've had some good experiences with what I consider to be some very good people, and I've enjoyed working with them and around them. I'm really enjoying being here at West Traffic. I'm enjoying being able to act sometimes as a teacher with some of the younger personnel here, and I enjoy that. I enjoy sharing some of my experiences with the younger persons, and I enjoy that as well. So I'm having a good time still, coming up on 44 years, and I hope to continue that for as long as I choose to remain.
In the city of Los Angeles, when duty calls, the LAPD responds.
Hey, John, lower the gun, buddy. John, leave the gun.
Working as a team.
Go ahead and put the gun down. John, nobody's going to come at you, all right?
but I'd feel a whole lot better if you were to lower that gun.
To protect and to serve.
Why don't you come back here to me, all right? All right, that's good. Walk toward me with your hands up, John. Put you in handcuffs.
All units code 4 suspicion.
Thanks for working with me.
K910, show me code 6 and the article search for the Amber Alert.
To fight crime and to keep our streets safe.
Another positive hit on this bag.
We believe at this time that the vehicle is in our custody.
Any available unit to respond to the northeast corner, 7th and Broad for the Amber Alert.
6K 253 call.
14X11, show us responding.
Cycle 2, we're en route.
This is it.
Let's go.
For the officers of the LAPD, it's all in a day's work. Protecting our families.
Look at your daddy.
They take pride in what they do.
Code from the Amber Alert. Missing child found and returned to parent. Suspect in custody.
LAPD is hiring. Become a part of the team. Visit us at joinlapd.com.
The boots are, have a specific purpose, and primarily they're built for safety. As you can see, you try to maintain them so that they look nice too, but primarily they're built for safety. The tall stacks are built to protect the legs in case an officer was involved in a collision of some kind, or and also to keep from getting yourself burned on the exhaust pipes of the motorcycle, things like that. And another good reason is that you don't get a broken ankle if you should happen to fall down. It's not to say that every time you fall down you will not receive a broken ankle, but it can certainly help reduce the broken ankles. The breeches, and they're called breeches and not pants. The breeches are double thickness, as you can see across here. They're double thickness for warmth and also for protection for the same reasons that I pointed out with the boots. The motors are the only ones who wear the insignia here with the wheel and the arrow. Now, all traffic personnel will wear the patch with the green field, but the motors only wears the insignia with the wheel and arrow. Well, these are called service stripes, and I think they're commonly referred to as hash marks, but they're officially called service stripes, and each service stripe represents 5 years of service with the department. And I have, as you can see, I have 8 of them there, so it represents 40 years of service or more. I would say that everyone would realize that I have spent some time around this department.
Not every veteran inside the LAPD is a sworn officer. There is one civilian in the department that's got more time on the job than anybody. She works here at Pacific area, and she'll tell you that this place couldn't run without civilians.
I started back in 1951, 1950 with the city, 1951 with the department. It's been an experience. Starting was an experience because I was fingerprinted and everything up at the old central building, which was on First Street above Times Building. And that was a building to be, I mean, really something. Should have been wrecked a long time ago. But you had to walk up the creaky stairs and the rats and all that stuff they had there. But people worked there. That was where the lab was. I was in communications, and that's the teletype unit. And that was in City Hall on the 2nd floor. And that's where we started. And they had the game well there and the complaint board, and the complaint board had a great big high ceiling, and the guys took messages and shot them down the thing. And it was a friendly, nice place to be because you met everybody. In order for detectives or anybody to do anything, they had to come to that room. And it was like a small city, a small town. And then eventually we went over to Parker Center. And that was communications was there. And I never worked R&I, but I did work communications in the teletype unit. And
And what's that known as today? That would be
It's part of R&I.
records in it.
Records and identification is what yeah, every once in a while they send me a notice to come help them as a past employee, but I don't. But that's what it is now as part of the records and identification. At that time it was a separate unit, communications. It was the radio room, the Gamewell teletype unit. And that was...
And that's where all the calls were dispatched.
Everything came out of there. And then it kind of changed a little after that.
Kind of like what is now the 911 center.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's changed quite a bit. When we first went over there, the teletype unit, you could sit in a chair and roll from one side of that Gamewell board to the other. It wasn't any bigger than this table. And if a division wanted something, they would ring in like a regular switchboard. You would connect them, find out what they want, and then hook them up to whatever they wanted. So it was kind of interesting, but we felt it was also obsolete after a while. Who wants to sit in a chair and roll from one side to another? So we decided to get the telephone company in there and set up a regular teletype unit. And they really worked with us. And at that time, we had some deputy chiefs who don't disturb. Why rock the boat? If things aren't broken, why worry about them? And we decided to go over their head, and we went to Bill Parker. And he told us if we could prove to him that we needed a new setup, we had it, and we did. We not only proved it, but this is what the telephone company gave everybody. Everybody signed it, Tom Redden and all of them.
And Tom Redden is a former chief.
Yeah, Tom Redden signed it, everybody signed it, and then we went and presented a copy to Bill Parker.
And what's interesting in looking at this, Marlene, is there's a signature down here by the name of George Beck.
Yeah.
And that would be the father of one of our current deputy chiefs,
Yeah.
Charlie Beck.
That's right.
And that's his father?
I think so. And you've got some others on there also of the old timers that signed it, but everybody signed it and then we all presented it to him. And that's how we started with the new teletype system.
How many chiefs have you worked for? How many different
5
chiefs?
actual chiefs, and I think there was 7 or 8 interims. Let's see, I was Bill Parker, Darrell Gates, Willie Williams, Bernie Parks, and now of course Bradley.
And then all the ones
And
in
the
between.
others in between were interim, like Ed Davis and Murdoch and some of the others.
Bay and Lewis and
but-
Martin Pomeroy.
Yeah. And what's interesting too is a lot of them were policemen or sergeants at Pacific before they went up the line. So it's been interesting. A lot of them come back. And so it hasn't been dull, not at all. And I've got a good crew in there, even though we're short-handed. We're down 3 bodies, like everybody else.
What keeps you coming to work every day?
I like the people, and if I have something to do. And now that we're on the 410, I have an extra day off a week, and I do other things. But it's been interesting, and never a dull moment, or very seldom a dull moment in Pacific. We've got a lot of people who are still around, but yet they're not working. We got a lot of people who are retiring now. We've got quite a few retiring. I think they're going to be sorry they have nothing to do, but you have to have something to do.
And I'm sure people must ask you all the time, are you going to be in this next group?
I'm not in this next group, but probably after that. I'm not really sure. I've got a couple of things I'm trying to get done, not only here, but at home. And once everything's closed up, I probably will. So I've got things I do at home. I've got family, and I've got organizations I belong to, and things like that.
So what, maybe a few more years with the department?
Maybe.
You're going to go for 50? Or 60? Wait, how many?
Well, if they give me a 60-year pin, I might. I've got the 50-year.
So,
in fact, you know, there was no pin. And the chiefs told them to make a pin and be sure it was at one of the presentations. So I'm the only one with the 50-year pin.
it's got diamonds in it.
Yeah, it's
looks
got
like.
diamonds in it. There's 6 diamonds.
Wow.
And now somebody says they're working on the next one.
On your 60-year pin? So see, you have to stick around for the
Either
60-year
that or
pin.
they can move it down a few years. but it's been interesting. Like I say, I've made a lot of friends. I've met a lot of nice people. Whether you know people or not, you can call them and talk to people in other offices and get an answer or get something done that you would like to have done. So it's been an experience.
What would you
I've seen all the little kids grow up here. We get a lot of, these police officers are so young. But it's nice to see them going up.
Would you say, since you are probably, I'm sure you are the longest or the senior civilian in this department, would you say that this department could not run without civilians?
I know it couldn't. Because if it weren't for the civilians, a lot of things wouldn't get done. Unfortunately, nothing against men, but most of them, the police officers do their own thing and they could care less about anything else. I've been fortunate. I've got some watch commanders who will bend over backwards for any of my people. But they also pat them on the back. Because if it weren't for the record unit people, if it weren't for the civilians downtown, this department wouldn't operate. It couldn't operate because they're the ones doing the paperwork, they're the ones doing all the city attorney stuff. I mean, anything that has to get done, it's usually a civilian that they're grabbing to do it. And I think that's a big part of it. It's enjoyable. I don't think I would have done anything else. I don't think I would have done what some people do, you know, you leave and then most of them come back anyway. As I say, I've met interesting people. I've got to know a lot of people. I've learned a lot as far as what's going on not only in the community but in the city. And some of it's scary, but you get so that, you know, you kind of look the other way in some cases. But I've enjoyed it. I've enjoyed every minute of it.
And you love cops, don't you?
Most of them. We have a good community out here. And so when they decided to put a supervisor in the record units, the captain that was here at the time told his adjutant that if I wanted the job, it was mine, and he was going on vacation. Didn't want to hear about it. And this is my record unit.
And this has been your job.
And I enjoy doing it.
The LAPD has been in existence since 1869. So now let's do the math. If you take the combined number of years that our veterans have worked, it's actually more years than the LAPD has been an official department for the city of Los Angeles. Now that's dedication. Thanks for watching this edition of Inside the LAPD. I'm Mary Grady. I hope you join us again next time.